the subway doors slid open and in stepped the star of the commute, a dog. Alone and confident, he moved as if he owned the place. Amir couldn't believe his eyes. He hadn't seen something like this before, a dog waiting patiently on the platform as if it knew the train schedule better than most commuters. Now, boarding with the crowd like clockwork. Who was this mysterious canine? Why was it here? And where was it? Amir couldn't shake his curiosity. Over the next few days, he began to notice the dog, same brown coat, same calm demeanor, making its rounds through the subway system. It wasn't wandering aimlessly, it moved with purpose. Determined to uncover the story behind this unusual traveler, Amir teamed up with an animal shelter, attaching a tracker to the dog to follow its incredible journeys. What they discovered stunned everyone. Amir did not ride the subway often. Usually, he drove in his own car to work. Still, he had elected to use public transportation to get to work as his car was in the shop for repairs the day before. This was therefore his first time noticing the strange commuter. Amir was shocked to see a dog waiting calmly with passengers at the station, hopping aboard the train as soon as it stopped. Strangely, save Amir, no one paid the dog any thought. "What's going on?" Amir watched the dog on the platform and tried looking for it on the subway, but before he could find it, the train arrived at Amir's station. Unfortunately, he had to get off and go to work. Amir initially tried to brush the episode off as a one-off event. He tried to forget about the dog. Perhaps it was merely prowling in search of food, or perhaps it was confused and had wandered into the subway by mistake. But something about the dog's attitude, a muted certainty as though it knew exactly where it was headed, stayed with him. That evening, Amir went home, unable to stop thinking about the dog. Its behavior appeared too intentional to be aimless. Surely, its story had more to offer. The next morning, he resolved to keep an eye out for it. Amir showed up to the station the next day and was shocked to find the same dog waiting on the platform. Clearly the same brown coat and the same calm attitude. Once more, the dog boarded with the crowd, after patiently for the subway to arrive and disappeared into the heart of the city. Amir saw the dog repeatedly over the next several days. It occasionally jumped on another line, and other times it boarded the same train as him. Amir watched the dog board the train and kept wondering what was going on. Was the dog lost and some commuter had fed it? Or was it something even more serious? The dog's behavior looked intentional, as if it had a goal, but Amir couldn't understand what that goal might be. Still, not every interaction was friendly. Amir once saw a bunch of people dragging the dog out of the train disgustedly, shooing it away. Amir tried to intervene, but the train had left the station before he could get to the dog. The sight of the animal running in confused circles on the cold concrete haunted him. Except Amir, others passed the dog and paid no attention to it. Amir could see the dog acting oddly, as though it had lost its way, through the glass. The dog was confused and was moving weirdly amongst the people waiting for the next train to arrive. After such events, the dog seemed to behave differently. It would seem more cautious, hesitant before boarding the subway. Amir continued wondering about how he could help the dog and kept wishing he could see it once again. Still, it always came back, resolved to continue its mysterious trips. Amir had resolved by now to be helping the dog. Seeking to build trust, he decided to bring some dog kibble to the station. He offered the dog the treats when he saw the animal once more, and it waggled its tail in acceptance. Though the dog was a bit dirty, his brown coat was rather unmistakable. When he saw the dog content, albeit momentarily, Amir felt a sense of satisfaction. But feeding the dog was not just enough. Amir yearned for answers. Where was it going? Why was it always returning to the subway? He received a call informing him his car had been fixed and he could come to pick it up at the workshop, but Amir made up his mind to stay on using the subway to get to work, at least until he had found a solution to aid the dog. He received a call informing him his car had been fixed and he could come to pick it up at the workshop. His car could wait, but he didn't know what trouble the dog got into in the morning. Amir knew he had to move quickly to sort out the full narrative. Amir resolved to find the truth, called local authorities, who pointed him toward an animal shelter. Amir's story piqued the interest of the shelter workers. Unusual, to say the least, was a dog routinely taking the subway. Amir was uncomfortable with their first recommendation to locate the dog a permanent home by capturing it. What if the dog was already attached to its routine or its independence? What if there was more to its story? This technique would not help him to unravel the mystery of the dog and where it disappeared daily. He was worried about this. Following much discussion, the shelter suggested another idea. To trace its daily travels and find out where it disappeared to, they would attach a tracker to the dog. It was difficult to get the dog to trust them enough to connect the gadget, but Amir helped them to achieve their goal. The tracker revealed an interesting trend whereby even the staff of the shelter lacked knowledge on how to respond. To find exactly where the dog disappeared to every day, one of the animal shelter staff members decided to track the dog on foot. He had to act on it as it was simply something he couldn't get out of his thoughts. And it was at that time he learned a great deal about the dog's routine. Now lovingly called Boji, a name derived from Turkish railway terminology, the dog explored the city widely. On average, Boji made 29 daily stops, covering distances of 27 to 30 kilometers of travel. He had a structure, a rhythm to his movements. He wasn't aimlessly wandering. People living nearby started telling stories about Boji. Many passengers knew him because of his cool demeanor and perfect subway etiquette. Always finding a peaceful place to settle down, Boji waited for everyone to go before boarding. He sought cover indoors on rainy days. On bright days, he lounged on benches. Delving deeper into Boji's past, the shelter crew found he was a mixed breed, a hybrid between a Civis Kingle and a sheepdog. Having already received sterilization and health checks, he seemed to have belonged to a family. But Boji seemed to be living as a stray now, depending on the goodwill of strangers for food and company. He thus made a lot of trip to reach the individuals and businesses where he could receive meals. For the dog fed by the numerous individuals who loved and appreciated him, every day was an experience. Boji became a local celebrity quickly as word of his train exploits spread. Travelers started capturing photographs with the dog and posting their interactions on social media. With people loving Boji's company on their trip, hundreds of followers started following him on his Instagram and Twitter accounts as fans avidly tracked his most recent appearances. He delighted every traveler he encountered and was a soothing presence. Everyone therefore assisted the dog in finding its way and generally gave it treats every time they came across him. Inspired by the viral phenomena he unearthed on Twitter, Getty Images photographer Chris McGrath set out to capture Boji's existence in Istanbul. Chris was astounded by Boji's intellect and friendliness after following the dog for a day. He couldn't believe his eyes, and I was something unique in the whole world. He knows exactly where he's going, Chris marveled. It's like he has a purpose. Head of Customer Relations at Metro Istanbul, Alvin Errol remarked, "He knows where to go." That the dog knew exactly where to go was rather incredible. That was a rather fascinating scheme. Boji was already a part of the community for many individuals. Everybody was familiar with him. Finding out the stories were accurate stunned Chris McGrath. He is a free spirit. All he wants to do is ride transportation. Every time he passes in front of a bus, van, or any mode of transportation, he just wants to get on. It's really strange, he told CNN News. Boji's adventures extended way beyond the subway. Over the weekend, he was spotted taking ferries, navigating bus lines, and even appreciating the occasional journey to Prince's Island. Boji knew precisely where to go when he got on the ferry, and this was rather amazing. Chris, who discovered Boji's trip to Prince's Island, explained that he was always headed to the side with the sun and he loved the water. His ability to choose the right means of transportation, avoidance of packed carriages, and discovery of the sunniest areas on ferries left bystanders in wonder. Boji knew exactly which ferry to take, He would bark at the waves whenever the ferry left. "I don't know how he knows, but that was the heading to Eminen, and the other one was heading to Besiktas," Chris said, laughing. So he checked the one for Eminen and said, "No, that's not the right one." Then he slipped under the turnstiles and went to the one in Besiktas. Boji's obsession for engines captivated animal behaviorists as well as commuters. He sat in the rear of a ferry close to engine vibrations. He stood exactly above the wheels of subways. This peculiar habit was appealing and revealed the dog's unique personality. It was as though Boji found comfort in the rhythm of the vehicles he travelled in, a steady pulse that mirrored his own adventurous spirit. He got his moniker from this inclination. The region of a subway car above the wheels is known in Turkish railway terminology as the bogi. Locals adapted the name, calling their dear commuter Boji with fondness. Long known as a refugee for dogs and cats, Istanbul, also called Katistan, is abundant with stray animals. Istanbul offers food, sterilisation programs, and veterinary treatment for its four-legged residents, unlike many cities where strays live under difficult circumstances. For Boji, the kindness of the city was evident in all aspects. Placed discreetly outside homes and businesses, bowls of food and drink guaranteed he never went hungry. To provide people with directions on how to connect with Boji, the municipality also intends to distribute flyers about him around the transit network. But how do the people of Istanbul respond to Boji? Chris recalls, walking inside a restaurant, two men yelled at him and chased him away. You then hear someone else, the owner of another restaurant, shouting at those men, "It's Boji, it is! Boji, don't chase him away!" He is therefore quite a celebrity nowadays. Both municipal workers and commuters watched out for him and considered him as a cherished member of their neighbourhood. Boji's story was evidence of the special relationship the city has with its animal residents, a bond anchored in centuries of coexistence. The staff at the shelter watched Boji's movements and noted how many kind individuals welcomed him with food, drink, or a head pat. From his frequent visits, several shops even identified Boji, grinning as the dog ran boldly into their establishments. Furthermore, not only are members of the Istanbul community protecting the cherished pet, Alvin Erol and the city staff workers also have a place for the roaming dog. Municipal staff started seeing Boji for frequent visits to guarantee his health and well-being. These visits included behavioural investigations, vaccines and grooming to guarantee his contacts with people were favourable. Boji proved he was not only healthy, but also content in his particular way by passing every exam with flying colours. Chris told CNN News it was helpful for Boji to get those checkups. They watched him interact and got his placement collar fixed, and it took about a week. Once they were sure Boji was healthy, they released him, but not without creating a small kennel for him in one of the subway stations, giving him a safe place to rest when needed. Boji's impact developed alongside his popularity. His story attracted people all across the globe, stressing the incredible bond between humans and animals. Not only a stray dog, Boji stood for perseverance, intelligence, and the power of the community. On his Twitter and Instagram accounts, Boji has around 79,000 followers. Most of them are Istanbul commuters personally familiar with him. Many of the fans posted videos of Boji riding trains and buses, amazed at how naturally he negotiated the busy city. On their itineraries, visitors to Istanbul started putting "Spotting Boji," hoping to catch a look at the now famous traveller. Boji's influence went beyond social media. His narrative spurred discussions on animal welfare and the need to treat strays with respect and compassion. Boji stayed loyal to himself, a free spirit riding the rails of Istanbul, providing happiness to everyone he encountered, even as a global celebrity. Boji's story is more than just a tale of a travelling dog. It reminds us of the remarkable lives all around us, sometimes invisible. For Amir, it was a lucky encounter that started a voyage of transformation. For Istanbul, it was evidence of the city's special affinity with its animal citizens. Globally, it was a fantastic narrative of connection, empathy, and the magic of the daily. If you liked this story, kindly thumb it, forward it to someone who might appreciate it, and remember to subscribe for more motivational stories. We appreciate your viewing. Next time we will see you.